Hello. So we've been talking about adaptations. We are going to talk about traits. Now, I'm actually using a PowerPoint or a lesson material that another teacher made. This other teacher teaches the same content as we do as well, and I've really liked that, what he created, and so I'm using it. But this was designed to be used in his classroom, so there's some things that'll be a little bit different, but the content is good, which I like. So traits. Basically, we're going to talk about what are traits and what are inherited. Inherited versus VS is an abbreviation for versus, like comparing two things. Inherited versus acquired, 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 acquired. It's three sounds, but it's kind of hard to hear. So try that. Inherited, inherited, acquired. Kind of all goes together. Traits. What does this have to do with inherited versus acquired traits? Okay, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean here, but at the end of the lesson, you should know, are the eyes on his face inherited or acquired? Okay, so if you look at Jack Sparrow's face, there's lots of eyes. He has his eyes, and then these eyes. Which ones are inherited and which ones are acquired? Hopefully by the end of the lesson, you should know the difference. Okay, so in reading class, we've talked a lot about characters, right? There's characters and stories, and we've talked about characteristics, and we've talked about character traits. Okay, so what does that mean? Because this actually applies to science too. It's the same in science. So think about how unique you are. You're special. You're one of a kind. There is no one on this earth like you, right? Maybe there's people that have things that are similar to you, but just you yourself, no one is like you. You are unique. You are created and designed that way. Kind of blows your mind to think about. There are thousands of characteristics that make you who you are. There's like thousands. There's lots of things about you that make you very unique, one of a kind, like no one else is like you. So characteristics are also called traits. So it could be like something physical, like your eye color, or how tall you are, or your hair color, or it could be like something you're good at, like, oh, hey, I'm a really good basketball player, or I'm a really good artist, or I'm really good at geography. I'm really good at camping skills. I don't know. There's lots of things that make you special or unique. So think right now. You have, I hope you have, right? No, you should have, right? 10 fingers? Okay. Look at your fingers. Okay. Think, what are 10 things about you? What are 10 characteristics or traits about you that make you unique? Okay, my laugh. No one laughs like me. Or even just any characters, actually any characteristics about you. So laugh. I've been told I have a big nose. I used to think that was bad, but in China, I've been told that's good. Okay, so my laugh, my big nose. Ooh, I can dance. I can help people learn things. I'm good at reading. Let's see, ooh, soccer. I'm shorter. I'm American. What else can we say? I can be happy. And then one more. I like working with students, with kids, for sure. Okay, so hopefully you can think of 10 things about yourself. Those are traits. So traits can be physical, like we said. So physical traits, they describe the way something looks. Okay, wow, look at that dog with the crazy hair. Oh, and it's got the little pink tips. Okay, wow, that's interesting. Like spiky straight up hair. It could describe how something is internally, like that's what's on the inside. Like what does your body look like on the inside? Okay, so fur color, ear shape, placement of your eyes on your body, like your brain, like how your brain is made, your shape of your kidneys, like that's inside of your body. Okay, so traits can be physical, they can be behavioral. Hey, we know this, right? So that describes the way someone acts, what they do. Describe something that was learned. Okay, so fetching things. Oh, how many of you have ever got to play with a dog? Or who has? Does anyone have a dog in our class? I cannot recall. Oh, but dogs. I used to have some dogs and I loved them. And yeah, just like throwing balls with the dogs and catching it. Oh, that's so fun. But they had to learn that. They had to learn how to play the game. Or, you know, we've learned about animals that have to hibernate, hibernation, or migration, migrate. And language. Did you know that? Language is a behavioral trait. Yeah, your ability to learn and speak a language is behavioral. Pretty cool. Think about this, like since moving to China, how many of you okay, well, first off, what language do you speak at home? Okay, so since moving to China and coming to YHIS, how many of you have learned to speak English better? Yeah, right? So that's something you're learning to do. That's a behavioral adaptation so that you can survive school. Did you know that? That's a behavior adaptation so that you can survive in our English school. How many of you learn Chinese? Yeah. Okay, you're doing that so that you can survive living in China, if that's right. So you're learning how to do that so that you can survive and adapt. Pretty cool. Okay, so types of traits. A characteristic of an organism, living things, plants, animals, may be inherited or acquired. Okay, inherited traits. Inherited traits are coded in your DNA, like how you are made. You received from your biological parents. So, your biological parents, for all of you, are your parents, the people that have raised you and your mom gave birth to you, right? So normally, if there are some students, there are some people and kids in the world who are adopted. That means they had different parents, but their parents couldn't keep them and help raise them for a different reason. So then another set of parents said, hey, we'll take you into our family. You can be in our family. So some people are adopted, and that's adoption is a really beautiful picture. But they don't, right? Normally the students or the children that are adopted, they don't look like their parents, and that's because they're not biological. Okay, so, ooh, sorry, gonna sneeze. Excuse me. All right, so think about this. Have you ever been told that you look like your mom or you look like your dad or even anyone else in your family? If so, that's stuff you inherit, right? Like my big nose. Yeah, me and my one brother have the same big nose. All right, so that's something I've inherited from my family, from my parents. Okay, sometimes people call it instinct. So some examples, you can think about eye color. Do you have the same eye color? That's stuff you can inherit. Your hair color, right? How tall you are. So Mr. Bond's really tall. You want to know how tall? So Mr. Bond in American, well, he's 197 centimeters, which in America is 6'5". His dad is 6'2", and his mom is 6 foot. And then he has lots of tall cousins too that are over 6 feet. So yeah, he inherited his height. Even your blood type, like the blood in your body. Okay, so those are things that are inherited, things you get from your parents. Or just like how birds know to fly south for the winter, that's something like they're born with, something they inherited. Because inherited traits are coded in the DNA, like in your body, they can be passed on to the next generation. So if you ever have kids in the future, part of what inside of you is like passed on to your future family. They get those inherited traits. Pretty neat to think about. Acquired traits. Acquired traits develop during life. Okay, so after you're born, these are when you get these traits. You're not born with it, okay? So inherited, you are born with it. Something you're born with. Acquired is what you get after you're born. It's not like in your body, in your DNA. So these are things that you learn, like how to ride a bike, how to make food, how to write, how to read, or things that happen to you, like maybe you get shorter hair later, right? Or maybe you broke a bone, right? So those kind of things happen later to you after you're born. Inherited. You're born, you have it, right? Things you get when you're born. Acquired. Things you get after, later in life. Acquired traits end with you. So acquired traits cannot be passed off to offspring. That's like your future children. You cannot give this to your future children. Organisms develop acquired traits. They are not in our DNA. They're not inside our body. Example, so you can look at the photo. This is a 3-legged dog. This dog has 3 legs. We know that's not normal, right? Dogs normally have 4 legs. But if this dog has children in the future, the children are not going to be born with only 3 legs just because he has 3 legs. That's no. This is something he acquired later. Okay. Physical traits can be both. So the eye color, that's something you can inherit, or scars on your skin. I don't know if you've ever like scraped your skin and then later a scar forms and then the scar doesn't quite go away, like where you got hurt, there's still kind of like something left there. That's called a scar, and you can see it on the man's legs. That's acquired, something he got later in life, and that won't go away, but he's not going to pass that on to his future offspring or to her future offspring, whoever that is. Okay, behavior traits can also be both as well. So really quick, we talked about behavioral and physical traits, right? They're 2 different things. Behavior, like the structure, the body. Behavior, what you do. Well, guess what? Those 2 things can also be both inherited and acquired. So inherited, like fish swimming, that's inherited. Like they know to do that. It's something they're born with. Acquired. Acquired is playing the piano. So if you know how to play the piano, that's how you do that. We will be back for part 2 in a moment.